The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
I hope you can hear me. My name is David Patrick Green, and I am here with Manish Sethi.
Hey.
You want to say
hi, David.
Manish?
Thank you so much for having me here tonight.
Not at all. I am very excited because I think we're going to share a lot of information that is going to help not only actors with their acting habits, both good and bad, but any other kind of habits that you have in life that you either want to adopt or get rid of. So we're going to get started very shortly, but before we get started, I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. So if you guys wouldn't mind, type in your first name and the city where you're located, or town, or farm, whatever it is, into our chat box so that we know people can hear us, and hopefully I can see. Okay, it looks like I've got a yes from. This is really, I gotta figure out this whole scrolling thing. Okay, I got a yes from, looks like Ron. Cliff in Chicago. All right, Rhonda from Grand Rapids. Brian from Monrovia, California. Arturo in LA. Josh in DC. Fantastic. Kevin in Auckland. We've got people from all over the world here. This is really super cool, Manish. So I'll just kick things off a little. As most of you guys know who I am, I'm David Patrick Green, professional actor, founder of the acting career development system Hack Hollywood, amongst other programs. And really my goal is to try and empower actors so that they can not only know what all the different things they need to do are to become successful, but then now let's figure out how to get those things accomplished with as little fear as possible and having as much fun as possible. So that's why I've asked Manish to join us, because he's invented this super cool product that I think really addresses a lot of those topics and issues. So, you know, I don't really want to say too much about Manish other than the first time I heard him, I think I said this in one of our first emails, he was doing push-ups on the back of an elephant. It was an elephant, right, Manish?
It was definitely an elephant, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, because at the time I couldn't remember elephant or camel. He's just done some really cool things. He's traveled the world. He has become a famous Berlin DJ in 90 days. He's a guy who likes to push the envelope, see what is possible, and I think he's a shining example of what is possible if you simply just go and do things and see what happens. And now he's invented a product. He's literally, the founder and CEO of a physical product company that I think we're going to see a whole lot more of along the way. So without saying anything more, I'm going to let Manish, finish the rest of his own introduction and get started with the presentation. If you are ready, Manish.
Oh yeah, I'm always ready. I just want to make sure that you can hear me okay, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and show my screen, so I'm hoping that you can see. Can you see right now my screen? It says...
I can.
Cool, you can. I'm assuming someone else can.
Yeah, can I get some...
Cool. And then, David, I'm going to put this into full screen mode, so tell me now still, can you see the screen properly?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Great. All right. Hi, everybody. So again, my name is Manish Sethi. I don't know if any of you have heard of me before, but I met David when I was working on my previous website, which was called Hack the System, and we shared a similar name. And recently I've stopped Hack the System and started focusing on a new company called Pavlok. So, first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am. This is the little screen grab from my website. This is my old Hack the System about me. Published 4 books, started an NGO, traveled the world. I was a book author. I wrote a book when I was young, when I was 14, called Game Programming for Teens. That was about teaching young people how to make video games, and it ended up becoming a bestseller and a textbook in Europe. And I used that to start studying computer science. I went to Stanford University and got quite bored. So I left, and I decided to travel the world and start doing a blog called Hack the System. Along the way, I did a lot of projects. involving different things. You might recognize some of my stuff. Here are some places that I've been featured on. So you can see me with Richard Branson. That's on the Steve Harvey Show. It's Tim Ferriss and me at the top. On the bottom right is Damon John and myself. But I want to draw your attention briefly to the top right, which is the only project here from Hack the System days. When I was doing Hack the System, I was traveling to a new country every once in a while, and I would come up with a new way to succeed. I wanted to break down what success was into an actionable act. And I got very inspired by Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Has anybody here read The 4-Hour Workweek? If you have, please put in the chat in the questions that you've read The 4-Hour Workweek. Cool. A lot of people have heard. Are you seeing 2 slides right now, David, or just one?
I am seeing 2 slides.
Okay, I have the wrong thing. Thank you, Kate, for mentioning that. I have the wrong one showing right now. Let me try fixing this. I'll just leave it like this.
Okay, I just assumed that was intentional. Oh,
yeah,
there we go.
Mistake. Now you see just one, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So anyway, I'm going to go into... So I'll just do it like this. So anyway, I began, so I started doing a project in Berlin. And in 2011, me and a friend moved to Berlin, and we only had 90 days there. So we said, how can we use this? So we created the 90 Days Project. The idea was, how can we hack into success? How can we become successful DJs when only given a finite time period? And we decided to take a different approach than most of our friends. Most people who try to become successful DJs will move into a new city. They start producing. They make friends who play music and smoke a lot of weed. They'll go out and try to make their music really good. And once they have something they think is worth sharing, an album, then they will begin calling up clubs or going to clubs and trying to find friends to getting their first gig. And does this kind of resonate with anybody here? A lot of actors who kind of spin their wheels and have trouble actually getting anything to actually happen. I'm seeing a hell yes from Scott. It's funny how that happens. It's funny how it's very easy to do the things that most people normally do, but end up stuck where most people usually stay. So we only had 90 days, and we said, let's try doing something a little different. Instead of trying to become good producers, let's go ahead and just go for the home run. Let's try to become famous Berlin DJs in 90 days. So here's what we did. We focused on we instead of trying to win the game of producing, we said, what if we just started off pretending we were famous? So we bought Facebook fans on Facebook. We called up clubs all around Europe and said, hi, I'm Will from Regal Entertainment. I represent DJ Manish. He's famous in America for house and dubstep. And it's crazy because it worked. Within 30 days, we were being called by producers and club owners around Europe. And by day 45, we played our first show in front of 500 people in Warsaw, Poland. And we managed to basically solidify ourselves at a bunch of different gigs all throughout Europe and especially Berlin. And the way we did it was by attacking the real problem of the goal we wanted to solve. It was about finding what 80-20 rule would make us succeed. Does that kind of make sense? I'm hoping you all understand what I mean. So what I started to do afterwards, I'm sorry, I want to explain. But I want to talk a little bit about how we did it. And it was not about the tactics. It wasn't about the calling of the clubs. It wasn't about the act of being a good DJ, which we probably were not. The secret instead was forming the right habits. It was about finding the habits that would make us succeed. Now, Scott just asked me, as I briefly alluded to the 80-20 rule, what that is. The 80-20 rule is the rule that about 80% of your results will come from 20% of your effort. And 20% of your results will come from 80% of your effort. In almost every situation, people spend a lot of time spinning their wheels doing the wrong things. Sometimes they even know that they're wasting their time and they know what should be done, but instead they spend their time doing the easier things to do. As a startup CEO right now, I see this with a lot of friends, what I call playing house. Instead of going out there and actually getting the customer, what they'll do is sometimes just continue improving their product or make sure that their lawyer documents are settled. They're spending their time what seems to be productive, but they're actually not doing anything that furthers their goals. I'd love to hear from people here who are listening in right now. Can you think of a time or can you think of a habit that you end up spending your time doing that you know you shouldn't, something that it seems and feels productive, but doesn't actually change anything in the long run? Go ahead right now and write down some ideas. I'd love to see what you think. If there's anything right now that's holding you back. Arturo says acting submissions. So Arturo, what are you doing instead of acting submissions? Are you submitting? Is that your bad habit, or is that the habit you want to form? I hope Arturo. It's a bad habit. So you're submitting a lot, but what do you think you should be doing instead? What would be a better replacement habit for that? See if Arturo gets to us. I'll let Arturo think on it. Right now, he responded. He should be going out and networking with agents, CDs, etc. Exactly. Networking is often a very, very powerful solution. I'm seeing right here from Megan that she spends time reading articles and watching videos about being an actor rather than actually just going out there and networking and becoming an actor. This is a really common problem. It often comes from sort of a mild, it's the feeling of discomfort, the feeling of discomfort that holds most of us back. Now, at the beginning of my travels, I used to be very, at the beginning of my life, forever, reasonably until today probably, but I was a very awkward, shy kid growing up. Here you can see a nice little family photo. This is my brother, Ramith Sethi, who some of you might be familiar with. That's a funny-ass photo. And that's me right there with my little hair, pig curls. And I kept this hairstyle, and I had a Sikh turban until I was 18. And I looked very weird, and I was a very strange-looking guy. When I was in college, I was the weirdest looking, awkwardest guy. So I decided I was going to make myself become more able to talk to people. So what I did is I read The Game. I'm sure some of you have read The Game. It's a book about picking up women, but it's not really what it's about. It's about men who are able to, or who try to break past their shyness and become confident and strong alpha males. I don't like the word alpha male at all, but I just mean the idea of becoming confident. And I started to do what was called rejection therapy. Rejection therapy is knowing that things are going to go bad, that you're going to feel weird, and you end up making yourself experience that uncomfortable feeling on purpose, such that you break through that feeling of discomfort. It's a very, very powerful method to make it happen. But what happens with a lot of actors, with a lot of DJs, with people who are trying to succeed in creative arts is that they focus on playing house. They never actually break through because they don't like that feeling of discomfort. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, no pain, no gain. The truth is that growth comes from discomfort and success comes from discomfort. The opposite of discomfort is comfort, and the synonym of comfort is habit. Whatever you do all the time becomes what you naturally do. The secret in the DJing story was not in doing those tactics. It was in stopping doing the things that I was wasting my life with. It was in stopping checking my email. It was in stopping just going out and partying, or stopping hanging out with the people who were holding me back. The secret was to find the right people to push me forward. The secret was to stop holding myself back from sending out from buying the Facebook fans and calling up the clubs. In particular, the calling up of the clubs. That was a very scary moment when you're calling up a club pretending to be somebody else. But it worked every time, because the people who succeed do things other people can't think of. And if you do something somebody else can't think of, it'll probably work. So now I want to take a minute to talk about the habits that are actually holding actors back. There are 3 particular habits I found in a lot of my studies with people of different varieties who are trying to achieve their goals. And those 3 habits break down to this. The first one is busy work. It's spending time doing inconsequential things. We just talked about the 80-20 rule. Being able to focus on the right things and actually do them will skyrocket the speed of your success. The second habit that holds actors back is not having a plan, not knowing exactly what they're going to do each day. It's extremely important that you actually know what steps you should be taking. It's very easy to play housework. It's very easy to do nothing. So if you have a specific plan and you follow it each day, you will watch the speed of your success increase as well. And lastly, the last thing is the habit of falling back into old routines. It's very easy to come home after work and watch TV or smoke weed or hang out with your old friends or eat a lot of unhealthy food. That feeling of comfort, especially as you get towards the end of the day, is one of the biggest habits that holds you back from change. Now, are you seeing a pattern here? All of these bad habits, again, they're things that your brain is consistently used to doing. Now, I'm sure some of you have a friend who's a yoga star or a CrossFit guru and ends up always going to work out, and you tell them, hey, one day, why don't you hang out with me? Let's go out and get drinks. And they'll say, no, I can't miss my workout. The fact is that they have the same feeling of discomfort when they don't work out that you have when you're supposed to call some networking producer or some TV channel host. The same feeling of discomfort that drives you to not do a positive action is what drives them to do the action. That's because habits are neither good nor bad. Habits are habits, and they're based on the habit loop. Now, the habit loop is the sort of a basis of what a habit is, and this comes from the book The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Now, habits start off with a trigger. When something in your daily routine, be it time, the people you're around, or some physical object in your personal space, triggers a thought, then that can cause an action. A habit is when the trigger causes an action by default. Like waking up in the morning, you go and you brush your teeth. When you get to work, sitting down in front of your computer and putting your desk you're putting your backpack on the floor. Whatever you do enough days in a row, the action becomes habit. At the beginning of forming a habit, it's a reward. Typically, you have to do something, or you get a feeling of comfort when you do something. In today's society, most things feel good. So what happens is that anything that we start to do, be it a good habit or a bad habit, we do enough times in a row, we get used to it. But it's very easy to like things like checking your email or playing video games or watching TV. That's because those actions are instantaneously rewarding. They're engineered to be so. The things that actually lead to the longer term, greater rewards, it's much harder to form those habits because the beginning period can be difficult to push through. Now, I started learning a lot about the habit loop because I studied at Stanford University under the habit professor, B.J. Fogg, and I got very interested in this, particularly because I have severe ADHD and I've always had trouble focusing. I've always had trouble. I spent over 6 hours a day on average on Facebook chat before I got into my current company. I seem to succeed because the things that I do are big hits, but my internal struggle of my internal imposter syndrome is that if only I could get myself to consistently do actions and then consistently do work, I wouldn't have to have these big wins. I would be a behemoth. My company would be huge. So it made me think a lot about my own personal habits. I've been addicted to a lot of things. I also had trouble stopping internal negative thoughts. I had struggles getting myself to focus. And most importantly, I had a big struggle with productivity. I was unable to get myself to stay focusing on one thing for one period of time. So I decided to test the habit loop. I thought there might be a better way to approach this if I'm trying to break a bad habit. What if I could pre-commit to some kind of activity that would force me to succeed? I thought a lot of my important actions that were not urgent. I wanted to submit to a TV show, in fact. And so what I did is something that might be a little strange, but I decided to test this out. I posted an article on Craigslist and I said, I'm looking for somebody to make sure that I do this work. I'll need you to sit next to me for 2 hours a day. And if I get off task, I want you to slap me in the face. And that's what I did. I hired Kara. She sat down next to me for 2 hours a day. She slapped me in the face if I didn't get my work done. And you know what's crazy? My productivity skyrocketed. There's a graph on my site. If you search for slapped by Craigslister, you'll see it. My productivity skyrocketed from an average of 38% to 98% when she sat down next to me. I submitted I submitted my TV show application, and I ended up getting a pilot for the Travel Channel on a show called #Digital Nomad. It was quite fun. So as I noticed this was happening, I thought to myself, this is actually really interesting. We hired somebody to slap me in the face, and it's working. But why am I paying for this? Why don't I just hook up a dog collar and make it zap me every time I go on Facebook? Wouldn't that be far more effective? And I started thinking about it, and I called my friend. My friend said to me, yeah, man, actually, that's a great idea. Let's do it today. Let's go to Radio Shack. So we did. We took apart this dog collar, and we hooked it up such that every time I wasted time, I would be zapped. And what was interesting was that it worked just as well as the Craigslist slapper. It seems a little crazy, but it worked really well. And I was thinking to myself, this is a funny blog post. I can make this go viral. But then I took a second thought and I said to myself, this is actually really interesting. There are a million wearables out there tracking what we do, but this one's actually changing what I do. Maybe there's something there. And it turned out that it wasn't just a crazy idea. I ended up finding an investor. I ended up finding a hardware firm. And we ended up creating a physical product that we call Pavlok. Pavlok is the first wearable device that breaks bad habits at their source. Now, some people are focused and able to execute on what they do. I'm not very focused. So instead of just doing the work, I ended up building a product and hiring a ton of people and raising money so I could build a product that would make me do my work. You can see this little counterintuitive notion. Actually, right now I'm going to go ahead and show my video. Hopefully you can see me. Let me know if you can. Can you guys see me right now? Do I look good at least, I hope? Hey, hi Megan. Yeah, thank you everybody. Cool, so this right here, I wish I could see me. Where's me? There I am. So this right here is the Pavlok. It is a device that I've been working on for about 3 years now, 2.5 years right now. This is what it looks like. It is a tiny module that is able to help you change your habits. And here's how it works. It's a small module, you just saw it, worn anywhere on the body. Pavlok utilizes Pavlovian conditioning to help you change your behavior. It releases a mild electric stimulus that we call a zap while you do bad habits. It's very interesting because it associates a mild penalty with that bad habit that you're doing. It can be triggered both manually by pressing the button, which I will do to myself, and I will regret it instantly after. It can be triggered by manually pressing the button, and also it can be triggered by some pretty automatic features that are coming soon. Some of the most, well, let me show you what it feels like. So right now, put it on. I'm going to go ahead and press the button. And it just gave me 200 volts of a mild electric stimulus. It's at this level, it feels like snapping a rubber band against my wrist. Now, so we started off with this product that zapped me when I went on Facebook. I built a Chrome extension that knew when I was wasting time, it started to vibrate, to beep, and then zap. If I opened up too many tabs, it started to zap. And most importantly, I set the alarm clock so that if I was hitting the snooze button, it would start to zap me awake. It totally changed my morning routine. So what was interesting was that we started to play around with this, and we used the product, and we discovered that it works when even pressed manually for negative thoughts. By noticing when I started to do negative things, like have self-critical remarks or drink too much wine, when I pressed the button myself, the association would be created. I would stop having those thoughts. The most particular case was when I was trying to get over my ex-girlfriend. I had trouble getting over my ex-girlfriend. I kept thinking about her. So I pressed the button a few times every time I thought about her. And within 2 days, the thought process went away. Now, I'm going to explain exactly how we work. We focus a lot on breaking bad habits as well as reducing cravings and negative thoughts. And the way it works is through Pavlovian conditioning. You simply pair the stimulus of Pavlok with an undesired action. If you are trying to quit smoking, it's you zap yourself while you smoke a cigarette. If you're trying to quit nail biting, you'll notice when you're biting your nails for 5 minutes a day. You'll press the button as you bite your nails. By day 2, you'll become aware of when you're doing it. And by day 3 or 4, your desire to do it will subside. The brain associates the stimulus with the action. It develops an aversion. This is also known as aversion therapy. I'll come to that in a second. Now, we've been working on habits for about 2 years now, and 1 year since we figured out that self-administered work. And since then, we've helped over 300 people quit bad habits, including smoking, nail biting, unhealthy eating, intrusive thoughts, the alarm clock, and more. And the big breakthrough came because this type of, I mean, first of all, I want to take a step back and ask everybody, what do you guys think about this concept, the idea of a Pavlovian stimulus? Does that make sense to you, or does that sound crazy to you? Let's see what you guys are thinking. We got more people on the call right now than ever. So Christine says it makes perfect sense. Ryan says it makes perfect sense. Are there things, everyone, Furios is in the middle. That's good. I'll take that as the worst review. I'd like to hear from you guys right now if you are, if you can see a rubber band. I'm sorry, if you can. Sorry, so Jason just wrote that he used a rubber band to get over anxiety, and we've been testing with rubber bands as well, and it's very interesting. The rubber band has about a 40% efficacy rate as compared to our Pavlok unit, but it leaves giant it is not ineffective by any means, but it leaves a big red welt on your wrist. So we found that we had a big class that we had conducted about a month ago where we tested the two versus each other. Is there anybody who has a habit that they think that they would love to get rid of? Yeah. So this is cool. Kevin asked about positive incentives, and there certainly are. We had vibrations for positive habits and zaps for negative habits. Facebook totally makes sense. Nail picking. Procrastinating, exactly. You can see so many. What's crazy is that we thought that we were developing something brand new, but I mentioned that we had a breakthrough that was about self-administered zap working as well as automatic zap, and that breakthrough was discovering the science of aversive conditioning. We stumbled on a clinical trial that was done in 1988, where 832 two-pack-a-day smokers were asked who wanted to quit smoking, came into a clinic, and usually they'll be given a Nicorette patch and they use it for 6 months straight. And if you use it for 6 months straight, 7.5% of people succeed in quitting smoking. That's 7.5%. Now, if you try to quit cold turkey, it's only 5%. So the nicotine patch companies will say it's 50% more effective than smoking cigarettes. Than quitting cold turkey, but it's only 7.5% effective. I found a study on aversive conditioning for smokers where 832 subjects went in for 5 days for 30 minutes a day. And the doctor said, here's what you're going to do. Open your box of cigarettes and zap yourself. Now pull out a cigarette and zap yourself. Now take a puff and zap yourself. And they would do so for every puff of the cigarette for 20 to 30 minutes a day for 5 days in a row. This was back in the 80s. They didn't have a take-home device. So they only did it for 5 days total. A year later, these people were interviewed again. And of the 832 people, 55% of them had not smoked a single cigarette since. That's about 8x more effective in 5 days than Nicorette patches were in 6 months. So when I found this study, I said, holy crap, this is something serious. So I started searching through it. Where else has aversive conditioning been used? And I found 21 clinical trials. We put them together in a evidence booklet that ships with each of our Pavloks. So here you can see this. 1 year later, 66.7% of smokers who complete sessions not smoking. 81.8% of nail biters have significant nail growth with aversive therapy. Or my particular favorite, 84.2% of marijuana smokers quit and their collective IQ increases by 6%. It was quite interesting. I love that study. When we found that this was already a solved problem and that we had already found clinical trials that worked, we started to reproduce them, and we got very similar results in a study with UMass Boston we just recently did. So now I want to take a step back and talk about how actors can get over their bad habits. Now, the first thing is to identify the bad habits that are actually holding you back. I'd love to hear some more bad habits in the chat that people think are holding them back from becoming successful actors, because I think that we'll find very consistent ones. In fact, I asked David Green before the webinar to tell me the 3 habits that he thinks actors have and should reduce the most. First, he said that they should break any patterns that they're demonstrating that aren't demonstrating that lead. I've just copy and pasted this from him, so I'm trying to reread it right now. Break the patterns that aren't demonstrating that they lead to success. To break he mentioned things like unhealthy friends, unhealthy drugs, unhealthy eating, or not exercising. These patterns that don't work need to go. Secondly, self-doubt and impatience must be eliminated. The amount of time that we spend in our own heads thinking about negative things that hold us back could instead be used on, that's the That's the 80% that is wasting our time. And if instead we focused on the 20% of the things that pushed us forward, we might see drastically different results. Lastly, reliance on others to tell them what's okay and what's not. This is actually a big consistent problem in my life as CEO of a hardware company with no hardware experience. I used to believe that my hardware engineers knew everything. And I just would see things that they were messing up on, but I was like, I must be stupid. They must know what I don't know. But when I started finally just saying, hey, what if we tried putting the design this way or rotating the battery that way? It was bringing a different take on the world to engineers, and the merging of my creative mind with their engineering mind caused us to build a better product. Now, I think that you understand that these patterns are things that are just simple habits in the brain, things that we've been doing enough times in a row, self-doubt, reliance on others, these patterns that hold us back, these things that we do so much that we don't even notice we're doing it. We just think that everybody is doing the same thing. But what if we could remove those bad habits and replace them with good ones? Good habits like making the actual phone calls that you need to know. Things like actually doing the work that you know will make you become a successful actor. Now, David wrote a really cool book called The Rapid Acting Success System. And in it, he had the 10 steps of the Rapid Acting Success System. These are a mixture of good habits and bad habits that need to be created and removed in order to succeed as a successful actor. Some of them include setting a goal for exactly where you'll be that's measurable in X days, being able to achieve, breaking those down to things that you do each day, and then actually going out and doing them and tracking the success against the patterns you want to succeed. A lot of it comes down to removing the bad habits of things that are holding you back, like staying with unhealthy friends or doing unhealthy drugs. Now, what would it mean to you if you were able to do this? What if you were able to take 10 simple steps of actually very simple habits, things like sleeping on time, things like eating healthy, things like making a goal, making a list of things that you want to do, and then slowly but surely achieving that goal? What would that mean to your success as an actor? Do you think that it might help you succeed if you were able to take control of your habits? Being totally honest with yourself is key, says Scott. It's life-changing. Christine says absolutely it would make a difference. Megan says absolutely it makes a difference. Scott says you must follow through. Follow through is everything. And this is the truth. The thing that holds us back, it's always the dip. It's always that moment right before we're about to succeed where things look like shit, where we suddenly hit it big. And the problem is that we hold ourselves back because other people pull us down. Other people keep us thinking that we're a failure. And it's a lot easier to stay in a comfort zone where we are or where our friends are than to push through. Now, what if we were able to push through? What if, more importantly, why can't we push through? It's because we are creatures of habit and we've never had a tool that can help us push ourselves to become who we want to be. When I hired a slapper, it actually made me feel very interesting. I was like, why is this not a fucking service that everybody has? Why is there no in-person Uber for people who come and make you fucking do your shit? If there was a person that showed up to my door and slapped me if I didn't go to the gym every morning, I would go to the gym. But in today's modern life, it's a lot easier to get away with acting like an unhealthy person than it is to force yourself to do a little bit more work because distractions are everywhere. And there's nothing we've ever created to help us fight back against those distractions. And that's why I created Pavlok. Now, I talked to David very earlier today and last week, and we've been talking for months. And he actually used Pavlok to help him break one bad habit, and I think two. So I'm going to show you a quick clip of his video. I'm going to hit play right now, and I'd love to see if you can write in the chat that if you can see it. I want to make sure it's working for you. Can you hear it? Probably not.
A professional actor. You've seen me in shows like CSI, ER, Smallville, Battlestar Galactica, Covert Affairs, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to talk to you guys today about the Pavlok device. Okay, you can kind of see it. So what the Pavlok device is basically a habit-breaking device that allows you to give yourself a somewhat mild electronic shock to your wrist to help you change behaviors. So whether you want to add a behavior or lose a behavior, well, I'm probably talking too much because I'm not trying to sell the thing. I'm trying to just tell you about my experience with it. And so I bought one from the Indiegogo or Kickstarter campaign. and I just got it, and I can't believe how great it works. At least I'm pretty sure it's working. I can't prove it, but my behavior is definitely changing. My biggest thing was I wanted to start with not watching as much TV. I started watching TV, and I would just zap myself. When I would think of it, I would zap myself. When I turned it on, I would zap myself. And I did this a few days, and I honestly thought, this is not working because I keep turning the TV on. And then, so I did that for probably 3-4 days. And yesterday, which would have been the 4th or 5th day, I had come home. I was at my girlfriend's, and I came home in the morning, and I did not turn the TV on. I just started doing work. It almost didn't occur to me. Like, I even thought about it. I thought, I normally would have this urge to turn the TV on, but I don't. And I didn't. And I didn't watch any TV at all yesterday. And then I was at my girlfriend's again last night, came home today, and I have not turned the TV on again. And I really don't feel that compelled to. You know, it sort of happens under the radar. I'm going to listen more to some of the materials they have about how to make the habit breaking stick. I have a whole litany of bad habits that I really want to get rid of. None of them are really that
Anyway, does that make sense, guys? It's pretty cool to hear that directly from David Green. Dave, do you mind jumping on? I want to ask you about your experience until today, because this was about 2 weeks ago you made this video.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here, Manish, and I have to say, in all honesty, as a true addict, I have regressed somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that it's really created an excellent reminder to me, so that whenever I do this, like if I do watch TV. And, you know, there's some confusion, like, do I not watch any TV, or do I just not watch TV during the daytime? So I think there's definitely some parameters I need to figure out when it's okay and when it's not. But it's really created a consciousness about what I'm doing. And
do you feel like you've maintained a cut down on the TV?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I watch a fraction of what I used to watch, and I think what I have to do is, like, I don't know if it's like smoking where you just want to quit. You know, I guess I have to get really clear on exactly what level I think is okay.
Sure. And so you chose the idea of reducing the craving versus the actual breaking of the habit. We found that, because if you if you want to stop watching TV forever and you make that decision, the 5-day process is to actually force yourself to watch TV for multiple days past where it's comfortable, making yourself zap yourself even though you don't want to watch TV until the full desire goes away. It's like when you drink too much tequila when you're young, and suddenly after one night the taste of tequila makes you sick for the rest of your life. It's over-nauseating the problem. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and it's gin for me.
Yeah, gin for you, right? You use it in the proper way for reducing cravings, which is a really common thing that we see people use it for. When you go to a party and there's too much wine and you've already had a couple glasses, don't feel guilty about it. Just add a couple zaps in between each glass and during a glass, and the craving goes away. You'll notice that if you catch yourself watching too much TV now and you kind of want to get out of it, it'll only take 1 or 2 zaps before the desire goes away. It's like a booster session. Now, if you ever want to actually fully get rid of TV and be like, you're a TV actor, so that might be a problem, you would overdo using our audio courses to help you push through and break that habit for good, right?
All right.
I've used it myself on tortilla chips, and this is kind of cool. I get physically ill when I see the Tostitos logo. It's quite interesting to see. And right here, I'm going to show you a couple of our users from. One second. We had it was really cool. I got to go to the Bulletproof conference, which is the Bulletproof Coffee conference, and last year I'd sold the Pavlok at that location. So I got to see all the people who had received it, and it was great to see like their stories. So I'm not going to make you watch these videos, but if you go to pavlok.com/blog, you can see it. But John got the Pavlok. He didn't get an instruction manual, so he wasn't sure what to do. But every time he had a negative thought about his family and kids, like felt like angry or unhappy, he pressed the zap button until within 2 days the thought process went away. Jason used it to quit eating donuts, and he zapped himself while smelling the donut, eating the donut, etc. And what was really cool is that he did it for 3 days, and the flavor has changed. doesn't like the flavor of donuts anymore. We found that, again, making yourself overdo it will cause the bad habit to go away forever. So here's what's cool. Now, I read through your book today, the Rapid Acting Success System, and you've really broken it down what specific steps an actor needs to do and what things that an actor needs to stop doing in order to succeed. I like that you made it very actionable, and I like that you made it very, very clear. Also, very small, concrete goals. Things like setting your major goal that's measurable and making a morning routine that will make you start doing that earlier. Those small little steps that you built into the system fit very powerfully into the Pavlok model. So I know that your product is, I think, $40. So I thought pairing them together would be a really powerful thing to do. Now, I know that the book costs about $40. Pavlok is usually a $200 product. And to be fair, we've had 5,000 orders since we ran our Indiegogo campaign last year. And we're still like 1,500 units back because we get too many orders to fulfill. So I want to know if there's actually any interest in this audience right now for this Pavlok device. Is this something that it sounds interesting to you? Because if we have an excited crowd, I'm able to remove some of the units and ship them earlier to people here. I'm hearing yes from Christine with exclamations. Awesome. Jason's pretty interested in one. I want to make sure we have enough interest so I don't end up. Cool. It looks like we have Ryan already ordered one. Awesome. I can already see a bunch of people coming up with habits they want to use it for. It would be good for a husband who suffers from depression. Absolutely. Cool. So here's what I did. I've never done this on a webinar before. We've never discounted it ever, and we've never moved anybody to we have discounted it a couple times, but we've never discounted it for more than 15% off. And we've never discounted it in a way that allows people to receive their unit early. So what I wanted to do is, because I thought this is such a really interesting use case, and because David's a friend of mine and he's done wonders with the Pavlok himself, that we could combine them together and sell it for a lot less. So we're putting together, and David was very nice enough to add his acting system to the package. But we're offering the $199 Pavlok and the $40 Rapid Access Success System for $149. So that's $100 off almost. And instead of waiting 4 to 6 weeks, we'll ship it to you next week. If you're for the first 10 people who buy it, we will be shipping it next week. The people who buy it afterwards will receive it at the end of November or the beginning of December as we catch up to our supply. Does this sound interesting to you guys? Sweet. All right, well, I'm going to give you the link right now. You can grab it from pavlok.com/hackhollywood. This URL is going to be active until tonight. You'll be able to buy both, add it to cart. The price is right there. I think there's a $10 shipping charge. And you'll be able to buy the product, and we'll send you in the next 24 hours the digital copy of the Hack Hollywood book. And we'll send you in the next 2 days a shipment of the Pavlok for the first 10 people to buy, and in the next 3 weeks for the people who buy after that. I'd love to take any questions that there might be. All you got to do is head over to this URL and chat and talk to me there. Awesome. So, David, have you used the Pavlok for anything else in the meantime?
I haven't actually used it yet for anything else. I've just been really focused on that one thing because that sucks up so much of my time. But I've got, like I said in the video, a litany of things that I'm going to be attacking.
Definitely. We have a lot of people who end up using it for. We have a lot of people who end up using it for things that they start off using it for things that they want to quit, like quitting smoking or quitting Facebook. But we find people using it a lot for just daily routine items. So a quick zap of energy later on in the day knocks you out of automatic mode and into normal mode. We find a lot of people are able to use it in ways that are like when songs stuck in your head or when you're having trouble going to sleep because there's a recurring thought, getting rid of it like that. So it's actually really cool to see people who are using it in various different ways, the negative thoughts in particular. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that what I've really found, I think it's going to be helpful for is keeping me conscious of what I'm doing, keeping me not letting me get wrapped up into things that I don't want to be doing. And so just having it on my wrist sometimes is enough to snap me out of behaviors that I don't want to be doing without even zapping myself. But then I do zap myself, so I make sure there's the negative association. But it really keeps me conscious and going, yeah, focus on what you want to be doing. Focus on what you want to be doing, not getting dragged all over the place.
So I'd like to thank, we just saw an order from Jonathan and from Joshua and Michael. Great to hear you guys. How does it work outside of manually pressing the button? Does it only work if you press the button yourself? Great question. So the actual design of the product is to be completely open source. It's a platform for behavioral change. So I'm going to go ahead and show you quickly my screen. So one second. Cool. Can you guys see me right now? Awesome. Got it. Look good. So we have a Pavlok app, and we have multiple apps. So the first one you have here is the Breaking Bad Habits app. So this is, let me close that. This is the Breaking Bad, that's terrible. There you go. The Breaking Bad Habits app has a list of courses you can take and specific bad habits that it'll teach you to break, including, this is the introduction course, which teaches you how to do it with any habit. It's directly connected to your phone through the remote control. So there's a remote control that pairs to the device. That remote control can be used for in-person vibrating, beeping, zapping. We'll see couples buy it often, like zap me every time you catch me biting my nails. This is a big thing. There's some funny things I've done with my ex-girlfriend, which might explain why she's my ex. And just kidding. To answer your question, it connects to a phone and it works right now automatically and through manual measures. So manual is button press as well as the remote control. Automatic is that we are hooking it in with IFTTT and various apps. So I currently have a Chrome extension that knows the website I'm going on and vibrates or beeps if I go on a blacklisted site. I have a Runkeeper integration I've written that knows if I'm training for, I was training for a 5K. If my speed got below 4 miles an hour, it would start to zap me to make me run faster. We had a ton of different use cases for it. And we've built the platform. Now, think of it like an app store for the iPhone. We've created hardware that allows other people to write apps for it. We've already found people who have written apps for it where if I haven't stood up in 30 minutes, it will zap me. If I haven't left on time to get to an event, it will vibrate, beep, or zap. Integrations with Slack, like team chat. If I write vibrate Isabel 50, it vibrates my employee Isabel with 50%. Those integrations are all working in-house, and we'll be releasing them starting next year for everyone to use. So that's what you'll be seeing, a big increase of automation. Cool. I'm seeing a ton of people buying it right now. This is awesome. It's so cool to see that we're going to have so many new Hack the Habit, Hack Hollywood, and Pavlok users. I got a cool question about the effectiveness. Does the effectiveness of the method decrease as you apply it to multiple habits? Yes and no. So we found that the effectiveness of one zap typically lasts for the first 6 months in the life of a user. The more you use it, if you use it too much, you kind of can attenuate it. So the strength is variable. You can change the strength of a device using the app. And also, you're able to apply multiple zaps and multiple power patterns. So you can help use it to adjust the mode. And we're doing some cool stuff with habit breaking psychology, like it'll 50% of the time just beep instead of zapping in order to help you create the anxiety association without actually requiring the physical zap. So I'm pretty excited about that. So the integration for procrastination is a question being asked by Arturo. Arturo, the answer is we use Rescue Time. Rescue Time is an app, I'll show you, that knows what websites you're on, and it tells you your productivity score. And this is the app I used when I was getting my Craigslist slapper thing going on. So you can see here my score today on what websites I spent my time on. When my productivity score is less than 40%, 50%, it starts to beep. When my productivity score is less than 30%, I'll start to get zapped. And when my productivity score is above 80%, it will vibrate repeatedly. So that really creates this association of I need to get to 80%. Let's do it. Let's do it. How does the battery work? It's rechargeable. So the battery uses can you see this? It's a micro USB charger. Charges totally fine. About 1 to 2 hours to charge, and it lasts for typically 4 to 5 days. Ryan's asking if anybody's associated the beeper or vibrating positively to use it as a reward. Yes, absolutely. So this is a story I used to, again, with my ex-girlfriend. What we did is we were able to communicate with each other using vibrations. And we trained each other to what the vibrations meant. So like, good, like, thank you so much. Thank you so much was like a 60% vibration. You're doing good. Like, you got it. It would be like a 30% vibration. And like, I love you so much is 100% vibration. And it became really cool because we were able to kind of, it was like a new language that she and I had. It was like emoticons. Like, you know, when you're typing something and you use a smiley, it suddenly has a different meaning. Suddenly she and I could say stuff that like might be sarcastic and interpreted poorly, but with the vibration pattern that we knew that it meant something else. So that was really cool. We were able to, we could make each other smile even in the middle of fights by associating that vibration pattern with just sending the vibration. So the haptic sensations that we're creating, it's showing me that there's a lot of power in what we're doing. And the more we've shared it with people, the more ways we've seen people use the patterns of vibration, beeping, and zapping to change habits. It's been really cool because we have no idea how strong this thing can be. I'm getting some more questions. Is the Zap strong enough? The Zap is certainly strong enough. You can adjust it to your level, but you can see plenty of videos online about people who are using the Zap in various ways. Make sure you check out, again, you want to definitely head over to, I believe you guys will see my productivity right now. Head over to pavlok.com/hack Hollywood, and you'll be able to get this package for actually a crazy price. I'm surprised those slides were made. Oh man, cool. Is there a way to pay for early access to things like Rescue Time? There is a way you can get in touch with me and I'll try to get you set up with some early builds. We can add you to the developer build list for sure. Cliff. Yeah, so we have a lot of upcoming. The alarm clock is ready. Does anybody here have trouble just waking up on time? Yeah, a ton of people are saying yes. It turns out that this is one of our most common use cases, which is the alarm clock. We have an alarm clock app. So you set an alarm, it'll vibrate to wake you up. If you don't wake up in the first minute or two, it'll zap you awake. And if you hit the snooze button, it'll zap you. So it trains people. We've seen people completely change from evening. I don't know if they're like real morning people instead of evening people, but they manage now to wake up without having that snooze hour groggy period. So it's pretty cool for waking up on time. And we've seen that that's a really, really big indicator of whether or not somebody will actually succeed with their day, if they get up with an alert feeling versus a groggy feeling.
Do you think it's possible to zap yourself to sleep?
So I've used it when I have thoughts that won't shut up in my brain. But it obviously makes you awake for that period of time, but it can help you stop that feeling of those thoughts. It helps me quiet my brain. I use it a lot during meditation to make my brain shut up. I do know, like, if it zaps you in the middle of the night, you get waked up. So I can't exactly, we're trying to work on making it next year help you stop using electronics after 10 p.m. because I think that would be really powerful for helping you go to sleep as well. How does a Pavlok know if you're up? You go into the app on the iPhone and you turn off the alarm.
So the interface is on the phone itself, not on the device when you're using the alarm.
You can snooze by pressing the button on the device.
And your phone knows it then? The app knows that that's happening?
Yeah, it's actually all done on the hardware itself.
Cool.
Yeah. And then you have to go into the app, and we have some cool like upcoming sensors. So I have a sensor on my refrigerator door that knows when I open the refrigerator door, and it zaps me if I open it, and then it writes on my smartwatch, "Are you sure you're hungry?" That's pretty cool. But we're going to take the same sort of sensor and put it we're going to sell it next year as like a sticker. So you can put it on let's say in your bathroom. So you have to wake up and you have to move your Pavlok up to the sticker to prove that you were there. Otherwise, it won't register as you being awake. That'll be coming next year.
Great.
Will you integrate any future programming improvements on Pavlok, and will be integrated with our existing one? Yes, there is tons of firmware updates coming out. The apps are coming out. In fact, if you guys send me is this going to work? If you buy a Pavlok, you don't need to buy one. If anybody here wants to try the app without buying the Pavlok, you can email me, manish@pavlok.com, with it's already here, manish@pavlok.com, with the subject line "Early Access to App." Look at that, live editing of a PowerPoint. All right, guys. I want to take a few more questions. We've got a couple more minutes. It's awesome to see we have so many people joining us. One other thing I wanted to mention is that the people who buy our product enter into the official Pavlok Facebook group. And it sounds like something that's just a no-brainer. But the amount of support and the amount of success that people are having in this Facebook group is insane. So I'm thinking you can see it on my screen right now. We have just created this group for like a week. And look at this right now. I just got a message. Wearing my Pavlok to stop complaining. No complaining bitches. Just came in my Facebook chat. So here's our Facebook group, and we see there's like over 900 people who are here. And the questions and answers are really powerful. We started updating people, but there are a ton of people who are working together on specific habits. And I think that it would be really cool to get all the Hack Hollywood people to get together and start working on forming the habit of forming these habits themselves, of exactly what needs to be done. So I'm happy to host like a little Hack Hollywood little like thread chain where we can help break down exactly the steps to make people succeed. Here's a cool unboxing I'll show you guys really quickly that was written last week by one of our Facebook group users. So she showed some photos of the unboxing. Here's what it looks like. It's not too ugly. Damn, she should hire her. This is my favorite thing. If you wear the Pavlok, it gives you a little mini tattoo. All right, guys, I'm going to take a couple more questions if there's any left. And I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this presentation. It was there's only a few minutes left. If you want to grab the Hack Hollywood, I will go to pavlok.com/Hack Hollywood. Grab it right now. I'm going to be turning off the buy page very soon, definitely by midnight Eastern time. So I'd recommend you grab it right now. And it was a pleasure to hear all of you chat. Thank you so much. David, do you have anything else you want to add?
You know, I just would add that the reason why I included the rapid acting success method with the Pavlok is that I think one of the big challenges for actors is actually trying to figure out what are the things they should be doing. And since you guys have never seen it before, for the most part, it just gives you a way to identify what the things are that you need to be doing, and then a really fast way to to pull out the ones that are the quickest to solve and get them done, and then work your way down that list. And before you know it, you're just moving at warp speed towards completing your goals. So it's just a way to, I think it really complements the actual physical device of the Pavlok with a system for helping you guys pick the things that you really should be going after and getting really clear and specific, and like I think Arturo said earlier, not just submitting all day for everything and anything, but getting clear on what you want and then focus on those things and the people that are making those projects and what are the tasks you need to accomplish to make those connections and really put yourself in the best possible light for those people. Because the difference between acting and a lot of other jobs is that you can never really be faking it. You can never really be distracted. You can do a job as an accountant and be thinking about being in Paris or, Walter Mitty kind of stuff. But as an actor, you really have to be focused. And so I just think the system will really dovetail well with the device itself to help you guys get focused. And other than that, I just want to thank Manish so much for being here, and thanks for the amazing deal, because honestly, I paid more for the device than that, so I'm going to be, we'll be talking. But no, if you guys think this is going to be helpful, great. If not, don't worry about it, but I just thought I would make this super cool, helpful device available to you guys very early on. Not too many people have heard of this thing, and so hopefully it'll be helpful, and please let us know how it works out for you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure to chat. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.